Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on where you are in the world. This is Gloria White, and I am coming to you from Utah, USA. Today, we're going to talk about something really concerning to me. Okay, who came out? Yeah, World Health Organization. They came out and said that this lockdown stuff, we don't need to do that anymore. That what we need to focus on is focused protection. Herd immunity is sort of like a fantasy because of the amount of people that are being exposed to it or coming down with it. They cited Sweden as an example of how them just going about life as usual and the devastating complications from that, and that it did not produce herd immunity because so few people got it. But I'm going to read this article to you. Focused protection, herd immunity, and other deadly delusions. Abandoning solidarity for the siren song of age-targeted reopening is a political error and a medical mistake. And this is by Greg Gonzalez. And this gentleman looks like I feel. Yeah, I'm not really trusting what these people are saying, and I am very suspicious of what they're planning. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Okay, many readers of The Nation may also subscribe to Jacobin, and as I do, I am happy to have two progressive publications appear in my mailbox regularly, one a longtime favorite and the other a more recent pleasure. A few weeks ago, I was browsing online on Jacobin. I found an interview headlined, "We need a radically different approach to the pandemic and our economy as a whole," with Harvard professors Kathy Yin and Martin Kulldorff. I was excited to read it. My Yale colleague Amy Kapczynski and I have written about how to rethink our approach to COVID-19 in a series of articles for another great lefty journal, Boston Review, where we have called for a new politics of care to confront the neoliberalism and white supremacy baked into our health care and public health in America. Also, it burned into the minds of about, I don't know how many Americans every night by the 6 owned corporations of news media, burning this into our conscious mind every single day. I was hoping to see a similar call emerge in Jacobin's pages online. Hereafter, however, some acknowledgement of the impact the pandemic has had on the poor and vulnerable in the United States, the piece makes a sharp detour into a defense of herd immunity, the very same strategy supported by Scott Atlas, President Donald Trump's most favored advisor at the moment, and roundly criticized by experts around the country, including more than 100 of Atlas's own colleagues at Stanford. Fast forward to this week, where one of Harvard's professors in question, Martin Kulldorff, along with Dr. J. Bhattacharya from Stanford University and Sintra Gupta from the University of Oxford, were in D.C. meeting with Scott Atlas and Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar to promote their new focused protection strategy in which schools and universities should be open for in-person teaching. Extracurricular activities such as sports should be resumed. Young low-risk adults should work normally rather than from home. Restaurants and other businesses should open. Arts, music, sports, and other cultural activities should resume. In the words of Donald Trump, America will again and soon be open for business across the board if we follow the advice of these professors. What has shocked and dismayed the vast majority of people working in public health and clinical medicine about this strategy is that it is heavy on the rationale for reopening or liberating states, cities, and towns, and light on the focused protection part. Koldorf, Bhattacharya, and Gupta are confident that we can sequester and protect the elderly and vulnerable from the virus, while the young and fit go about their business as usual, and their getting infected is seen as their contribution to the building of herd immunity, presenting little risk to them. Let's put this into some real-world context. In the United States, only a small portion of older Americans live in nursing homes or care homes, where we have shown little ability to keep our elders safe over the past 8 months. The bulk of older Americans are integrated into our communities, living alone or with their spouses and their families. Even if we could make nursing homes into impenetrable fortresses impervious to viral entry, it's not at all clear how we'd keep the millions of elderly safe as they live around, among, and with us. In fact, data from CDC suggests that we haven't done a good job at all on this. And when virus cases surge in young people, the elderly are next in line for transmission. Now, I don't know what you guys know about humor camps, as Marf would put it. But what I know about them and focused protection would be that there would be buses coming to a neighborhood near you, gathering up the vulnerable and elderly and taking them to a nice, safe area where they can live out their lives in peace and safety. And the rest of the world can just go on like it was. Hey, isn't this a great idea? No. No, it's not a great idea. It's Nazi Germany all over again. The first thing that oh my gosh, Hitler did to the German people was he rounded up 284,000 people that were no longer able to contribute to society, inasmuch as they had a mental illness, they were elderly, they were sick and unable to work. Those people weren't put in a camp, for fun and games. They were exterminated. Now, if you gather up a bunch of people here in America and send them to the fun camps, and then nobody can go in to check on them, how do you know they're still there, that they're still breathing, that they are well cared for? How do you know they haven't been taken to an incinerator? How do you know they haven't been dumped in a mass grave and filled over with a bulldozer? Who's going to prove that? How's anyone going to find out? Can you tell me when they think they would ever let them out? And, oh my gosh, the most terrible news of ever. The virus got into the fun camps and everyone succumbed. There just wasn't enough medical care to provide for all of them. It was overwhelming and very heartbreaking. Oh, this is crazy. If they think they're going to load me up in a bus and take me out in the middle of the woods or to a whatever fun camp, no, ain't happening. I'm perfectly safe here in my home, and I have everything I need. I think I could live here in this house till I died, because I have everything I need. And I can't see where, this is self-defense, people. I'm like rationalizing, please don't kill me, please don't kill me. But anyway, this is what we're looking at now. This is our new future. So if you have grandparents and elderly parents or old aunts and uncles, you should just, spend some time with them and talk to them and let them tell you all the old stories and write them down, record them for posterity. Because if these people get to move forward, it's going to be just as I described it. And who is behind this major news? Who wanted to tell us that we need to stop doing it the way we're doing it? Who said that? Who was that? Oh, it was WHO official urges world leaders to stop using lockdowns as primary virus control method. How long before we're going to be begging for a rearrange my DNA or ram down my throat an RNA vaccine just to stop their madness? I'm not going to do that either. The World Health Organization Special Envoy on COVID-19 urged world leaders this week to stop using lockdowns as your primary control method. We in the World Health Organization do not advocate lockdowns as the primary means of control of this virus, said Dr. David Nabarro. Said to the Spectator's Andrew Neil, the only time we believe a lockdown is justified is to buy you time to reorganize, regroup, rebalance your resources, protect your healthcare workers who are exhausted. But by and large, we'd rather not do it. This was posted by Spectator. Watch Dr. David Nabarro, the WHO's special envoy on COVID-19, tells Andrew Neil, we really do appeal to the all world leaders. Stop using lockdowns as your primary control method. Watch the full interview here. I'll leave the link for these articles in my description box. Nabarro went on to point out several of the negative consequences lockdowns have caused across the world, including devastating tourism industries and increased poverty and hunger. Yes. When people can't work, they can't feed themselves. When the farmers can't get their product to the markets, yes, food is wasted. Yes, the lockdown was stupid to begin with. But what's the alternative now? It's just as dumb. But just look at what's happened to the tourism industry in the Caribbean, for example, or in the Pacific, because people aren't able to take their holidays. So sad. He said, look what's happened to smallholder farms all over the world. Exactly. Look what's happening to poverty levels. It seems we may well have a doubling of world poverty by next year. We may have at least a doubling of child malnutrition. No kidding, Jack. And why don't they do something about cleaning the surfaces where they're processing food more often so they can stop calling back, tons and tons and tons of food, because of possible salmonella. Oh, why don't they test the soil before they plant to check for listeria? I know I sound a little crazy today, but I guess this is how I react when someone threatens my freedom and my very existence. But this is true, and Trump was right. This virus, these lockdowns, these are having irreparable damage. So earlier this week, thousands of medical health experts signed their names to a petition calling for the end of coronavirus lockdowns, citing the irreparable damage they've caused. As infectious disease epidemiologists and public health scientists, we have grave concerns about the damaging physical and mental health impacts of the prevailing COVID-19 policies and recommend an approach we call focused protection. Read the petition, known as the Great Barrington Declaration. Current lockdown policies are producing devastating effects on short and long-term public health. In the United States, lockdowns have been tied to increased thoughts of suicide from children, a surge in drug overdoses, an uptick in domestic violence, and a study conducted in May concluded that stress and anxiety from lockdowns could destroy 7 times the years of life that lockdowns potentially save. Yeah, Donald Trump said this. We all know this. We are seeing it in our neighborhoods, in our families. We all are aware of what the consequences of this lockdown have been, and that not everybody is even following the lockdown. So, and people don't want to be locked up. They want to go back to work. They want their kids to go back to school. Everybody wants the pandemic to go away. And really, how bad is the pandemic? Really, I mean, the numbers that they're reporting, they're not breaking those numbers down. They're not telling you how many of the people that tested positive had no symptoms. But they were tested because they had contact with someone who did come down with COVID. How many of those people got sick but never had to go to the hospital? How many of those people were hospitalized? How many of those people that were hospitalized were in critical care? How many of those people that were hospitalized were on ventilators? How many of those people that were hospitalized or not hospitalized actually died from the COVID-19? These numbers that they're giving us doesn't break down anything and leaves you with no clear understanding of what is actually happening with this virus. If it was as deadly as they're saying it is, you know, what they were saying in the very beginning, 200 million people, then we would see bodies piling up in our streets. We would see them lying around the neighborhood. It is not that deadly. And now, I put out videos about this. I'm going to rant, so I'm just going to go with it. Vitamin D. Back in February, there was a study that came out by Dr. John Campbell, John John. And he said that he had suspected that vitamin D was somehow connected to the survival of COVID-19 patients. And then they did a study and they discovered that, yes, absolutely, 6 months ago they discovered that vitamin D was a determining factor. If you had an adequate or above adequate amount of vitamin D3 in your system, that your survival rates were 94%. They discovered this 6 months ago. Has anybody been talking about it? Oh, I don't know. Maybe I did a couple of months back. But now more information's coming out. Now more prestigious college professors and research centers are actually, compiling their data from studies that they've done. And what they've come up with is that with adequate amounts of vitamin D, you are 54% less likely to catch COVID-19. And with adequate or above adequate amounts of vitamin D in your system, you are 94%. 94% of people don't die. 94% of people that get COVID-19 don't even die. So, and they're coming out with these numbers like I saw, 54,700 people, tested positive for COVID, but they don't break the numbers down. They're making it terribly confusing, and I think they're doing it on purpose. Let's face it, it's political, very, very political, and very, very bad for our country. We don't know which way to go because they're not giving us accurate information that we can make sensible decisions for ourselves as free citizens in a free country protected by the Constitution. Okay. The best thing I think that people can do is to take their vitamin D, their zinc, eat healthy as you can, rest, get 8 hours of sleep at night. If you can possibly get that much sleep, what happens when your body shuts down, your immune system recharges. It's a very important time. Sleep is very, very important. And then, if you go into a crowded situation, put a mask on. You're not going to die from wearing a mask in a store for 20 minutes. It's not going to happen. And if you can't breathe well enough to go in the store with a mask on for 20 minutes, maybe you should be staying home, using Walmart app, and ordering your food to be delivered, like me. Just an idea. And wash your hands. And flu season's coming. And if you go look at my video I did on vitamin D, if you've even gotten this far, you probably went, okay, Gloria, goodbye. Which is okay too. I mean, but it's stories like this and stories, anything other than the Bible, they get like 25, 30, 53 hits, People look at them, they give them thumbs up. And I have such a small amount of people that truly watch the Bible videos. Sure, every now and then somebody pops in, that they don't normally do. I don't know. I mean, I try to go and watch all the people I'm subscribed to. It's impossible. I'm subscribed to too many people. But I do have my regular ones that I go and look at all the time. And then I try to pop in on other people to support them, We're a community of people on YouTube. Anyway, we're a community of people on the face of this planet. We are all connected by life and death. Okay? But anyway, I need a pair of boots. If anyone's listened to this point, I need a pair of snow boots. I wear a size 9, but the opening needs to be really large because I have such a high instep. Instep? My arch is really high. And they need to be really warm because being in a wheelchair and not really walking and moving around a lot, my feet just get so absolutely cold if I have to go out with a dog or whatever, And so if anybody has a pair of boots just, hanging around, I'd gladly give you postage to send them to me. Or if you know where I can get a really good deal, I'd appreciate that too. Anyway, folks, as always, I love you.